Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our webinar on EB-5. We are joined today by two very special guests, Zoe Wollenschlaeger, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and FPP's very own Sonia Clark. We're very happy to have them. I'm going to talk a little bit about Zoe here first, who represents EB-5 Choice, and she possesses a rich and diverse background in facilitating immigration opportunities and financial investments for EB-5 Choice's valued clients. With a solid foundation in immigration law, she seamlessly transitioned into the world of EB-5 recently and has demonstrated a commitment to assisting individuals in achieving their American dreams. We are also joined by Sonia Clark, who is a very highly experienced, respected, and astute regional director for our South African operations. She has assisted many immigrant investors in their journey to the United States and has helped them find their American dream. So without further ado, I'm going to let Zoe take over and let us know if you have any questions.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe Wollenschlaeger. Thank you for the introduction. I am the Immigration EB-5 manager at Meyer Law Group. We are a immigration law firm based in San Francisco, California, and I'm also a registered representative at EB-5 Choice, which is an EB-5 broker-dealer. But I'm just going to share a little bit today about the basics of the EB-5 program. So if you can see my screen. All good? Yeah? Okay, great.
Yeah, all good.
Introduction to the EB-5 visa, just the very basics. The EB-5 program was created by U.S. Congress in 1990. Each year, there are 10,000 EB-5 visas granted to foreign citizens who meet the following two requirements. One, investing in a new commercial enterprise in the U.S., and two, creating or preserving 10 full-time permanent jobs for U.S. workers. What makes the EB-5 visa unique is that there's no language, age, education, employment, or nationality requirements for EB-5 investors. And the benefits of this visa just far exceed any other type of U.S. visa for foreign citizens. If you compare it to, let's say, the H-1B visa, for example, there is a lottery that applicants have to apply to each year after already meeting the education and employment qualifications that are pretty strict. And then you have to fight for one of the minimal numbers of visas available. For a student visa, F1 visa, you have to be a full-time student. There's restrictions on the work that you can do, etc. The list goes on. But for EB-5, there are no restrictions on the investor besides making the investment and creating these 10 full-time jobs. So EB-5 is the fastest route to U.S. permanent residency, and it provides citizenship. It provides a pathway to U.S. citizenship, but it is optional. It's not required for investors to pursue U.S. citizenship if they don't want to. But it is the fastest route to permanent residency, and the investor, their spouse, and all children under the age of 21 qualify for the green card. Like I said, EB-5 grants investors the ability to live, work, and study anywhere in the United States without any restrictions or qualifications. And depending on the project selected, EB-5 investors should eventually receive a full return of their EB-5 investment. So the EB-5 investment, it is either, depending on the location of the project, $1,050,000 US or $800,000 US. We will touch on this a little bit later with Sonia as well in TEA versus rural and what that means. But the EB-5 investment has to be at risk, meaning there's no 100% guarantee that you will make a return or receive your money back. And it must be lawful, which means the investment funds must come from lawfully obtained capital. And this must be proven by the evidence that you can provide. So this is the most critical part of your EB-5 application, is being able to prove where your funds came from, that they were lawfully acquired, and how they made it to the project. So some common sources of lawful funds would include personal income, savings, investments, gifts or inheritance, real estate and property, company or business equity, publicly traded securities, etc., or even a combination of a few of those. So, yeah. the EB-5 immigration process starts with a form called Form I-526. So this form we file after the investment has been made to the regional center. Form I-526 proves to USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, that you have made the investment or you have made a partial investment into the project and that your source of funds were lawful. That is the main piece of this I-526. And the second part of the EB-5 process depends on if you are in the United States or outside of the United States. So if you are in South Africa, when you file and you want to stay here while it's processing, you would then visit your local US consulate and have an interview and receive your conditional US permanent residency. After that point, you could relocate to the United States once your I-526 is approved. If you have a US visa and you can go to the United States while the I-526 is processing, or before we file the I-526, you can qualify for something called concurrent filing, where you can receive your work and travel authorization while your Form I-526 is processing. This is just an option. It can help you move to the US faster. It really is case specific and depends on the investor and their personal situation. So if this is something you want to discuss more in depth, we're always available to answer your specific questions. And so once your I-526 is approved and you either have relocated to the United States or received your work and travel authorization, we then have to keep your investment in the project for a conditional or a required amount of time. It's about 2 years. And once this time is complete, we can file something called Form I-829. This form proves to USCIS that your investment created these 10 full-time jobs for US workers. Once this form is approved, you can then apply for your US permanent residency and eventually US citizenship. So that is just the very basic nuts and bolts of the EB-5 immigration process. Like I already covered this, but the I-526 petition is the first one. The main part of your application is just proving the source of funds. And this is where most investors that receive an RFE, request for further evidence, or even a denial, this is where the issues usually are. And it's that this banking documents aren't traceable, or the investment is not consistent with the source of funds claimed. That is kind of where it can get a little bit tricky. So this is definitely the most vital part to make sure that your investment is smooth and that your immigration process goes smoothly. Concurrent filing, I also touched on this already, but this is just an option if you have a US visa. You can also do this on a tourist visa. There are more rules that apply, so you would want to work with an immigration attorney. We could discuss it more in depth and help you figure out how to navigate that field and those rules. And then the I-829 petition, which is the final step of the I-526 process. So that is just a very basic overview of EB-5. We are Meyer Law Group. Like I said, we have over 15 years of experience in the EB-5 industry with our headquarters in San Francisco. We filed over 1,500 I-526 petitions for EB-5 investors over the years from a number of different countries, many from South Africa. And this is just a quick overview of our team. We can obviously share this PowerPoint with anyone if you're interested. But these are our two attorneys, Brandon Meyer and Paul Chen, and then some of our EB-5 team on the side, including myself. And yeah, just some contact information. But that is my slides, my basic introduction to EB-5.
Well, thank you for that. That was great. And yeah, like you said, we encourage anybody listening to reach out to Zoe with any questions. Sonia, I'm going to let, I know you have a lot of stuff to cover as well, so I'm going to just keep this rolling and pass it along to you.
Sure. Thank you so much. And Zoe, thank you so much. And I'm glad to share that Zoe is permanently going to be based in Cape Town. So anybody in South Africa, she's going to be on a much more convenient timeline, which, yeah, I absolutely adore Zoe, love working with her, and very excited that she's on here today as well. And yeah, so I'm the regional director for First Pathway Partners, and I'm based in Johannesburg, even although We look after EB-5 investors countrywide and even from parts of Africa. So reach out to us anytime. We are talking about understanding the legal landscape of EB-5 and how it pertains to our recent project, Kaya by Outdoor Citizen and the developer T2. Just a little bit about FVP, as we are known. We were founded in 2008 by Mr. Bob Kraft. We've also got a 100% success rate on securing permanent green cards. And we've also have over $1 billion worth of economic development and returned full capital contributions to various on multiple projects. We've got an extensive team. We cover the globe, so it doesn't matter which area you're in. We have got directors globally that will be able to assist you as well. Just a bit about Mr. Kraft. He's been an entrepreneur for over 40 years with experience. He was the president for IIUSA, which is Invest in the USA, the lobbying body for EB-5 to Congress, and he was elected president 6 years in a row by our competitors. So Mr. Kraft is very much revered in the EB-5 space and very proud to actually be part of the team and have him as our CEO. He's also a board member of the Metro Milwaukee Association of Commerce and World Trade, and also the World Trade Association. We've also been covered extensively in the Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, Newsweek, CBS, Forbes. And I recently learned that Fox News was going to be interviewing Mr. Kraft at our offices in Milwaukee, which I cannot wait to see. Also, a lot of our past projects you can find on our website. We've also got a local website for South Africa, eb5.co.za. And Zoe's gone through all the documentation. We have a proven process where we vet projects very carefully. Just an overview, the minimum investment, like Zoe said, was $800,000, which covers husband or main applicant, spouse, and all children under the age of 21. Zoe also mentioned the concurrent filing. So depending on your case, you're either eligible or you're not eligible, and that you'd have to discuss with Zoe or your immigration attorney. And then also you have to create at least 10 jobs. So we're very proud to say that we've got a 27% cushion in our project, which is Kaya in Utah, which is close to Lake Powell as well, just to give you, the vicinity of our project. Also, applicants must pass a criminal background check. You've got to document your source of funds, like Zoe said, and that is the most important. And you have to have a desire to live in the US. What you don't need is any management experience. There's no cutoff age or anything like that. And you don't have to live in the US full time. So if you do have a business outside of the US, you can still continue and go back and forth. And Zoe will explain the legal documents that you file for when you need to travel as well, while you are waiting for your EB-5 to come through for your permanent residency and your permanent green card. So yes, I think some of the benefits that I'd like to mention, Zoe mentioned the F1 visa for students. We can do a comparison. Zoe can do a comparison in terms of the cost, what it will cost to put your child through school or university versus an EB-5. So university can get really expensive as an international student, and you can save anything from $40,000 to $80,000 per year per child, being on an EB-5 visa. And then obviously once you qualify, I think you've got a year that you can do an internship, and then after that you've got to actually get a job in the field that you studied. But under EB-5 you've got no restrictions. I think EB-5 is your permanent solution, and you've also got access to public health care as well, I think, which is great. And you can also start a business anywhere in the United States. You also don't have to live in the area that your EB-5 project is in. So our project is in Utah, and a lot of our investors want to go to the state of Florida, and that doesn't prevent anybody from staying wherever they want to live. Just to touch on our EB-5 project, it is a rural project. So yes, just want to throw this over to Zoe so she can explain to you the difference between a rural project and why this is so great, why this project is filling up so quickly, as opposed to a TEA, targeted employment area project. Thanks, Zoe.
Yeah, absolutely. So within the 10,000 EB-5 visas that are granted each year, 32% of those are called set-aside visas. And within that, there are two categories called TEA, Targeted Economic Employment Area. And within that category, you have high unemployment projects and rural projects. Set-aside visas, these set-aside projects, allow you as an investor to qualify for the lower minimum investment amount of $800,000, first of all. Second of all, there are special benefits for rural projects, so projects located in places in the United States that are considered rural by the United States Census. And the main special benefit with this is priority processing. So rural projects allow investors to have priority processing for that first stage of the I-526 petition, or the EB-5 petition, which is that I-526 form. So typically, what we see for processing times for a regular high unemployment area project for that I-526 form would be about 14 to 16 months just to get that form approved before you can even start the process of relocating to the US. However, with rural projects, we've seen it approved in as little as 4 months. I'd say on average about 9 or 10 months. The main benefit for choosing a rural project as opposed to a high unemployment project is the much faster processing times, considerably faster, which would reduce your overall investment process by, I'd say, maybe 6 months to 10 months shorter.
That's great, Zoe. Thank you very much. And also a shorter wait for your capital to be returned. So that is the main advantage. Anyway, so I'd like to just mention, so our project, our EB-5 project, so the EB-5 funds are the senior loan. So on the capital stack, there is no other parties involved, which means, that we would have first lien, on the project. And we've obviously put measures in place as a regional center, which, we look at preserving EB-5 capital and looking after our investor funds. So we've put measures in place as well, which we can discuss at length with you. So the EB-5 funds that we're raising is 52,866 investors. And so the total EB-5 project cost is 66 million, just under 66.7 million US. And what's really nice about this project is if we compare, and it's an ultra luxury resort, well, based in the close to the Grand Canyon as well. So everything is outdoorsy since COVID, and everybody wants their luxuries as well, around them. So they want to do their horse riding, they want to do their hiking, they want to do the sightseeing, but they still want to come back and have that 5-star feel. And what's really good is the room rate. When we did a comparison in terms of the room rates, the average daily room rates, so the average is about 5,114 when we take a spectrum of other hotels in the area, where our daily room rate, average daily room rate comes in at $2,200 US. So occupancy is definitely expected to be really high. Stabilization of this project is going to be in year 3, and projected stabilization value is 105 million. So only after 3 years are you looking at this project, to be at the stabilization point. So all in all, a really good rural project. And any other questions in terms of EB-5 and our project, you're welcome to find us. And we also have the project video on YouTube, and I can gladly send that through to you as well. And I think in a nutshell, that's it from me. Zoe, thank you very much. And if there's any questions, please reach out.